Hello, class. Yeah, there was a problem with if you wanted to do anything with for extra points on that um, homework 7. Uh, Unless you do a lot of Googling, you're going to have a problem. And I'm going to demonstrate what the problem is with this little application. You have the source code for this uh, on the website. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Let me run this that thing right here. Let's run that here. Go here. Okay, and so this little application has actually two parts. In the center, you have a sort of like a drawing pane, just similar to what you're doing. But I'm not doing anything fancy with this little drawing pane. This drawing pane just has a circle. That's all it does. And if I have a couple of buttons which will enlarge it, make it smaller and bigger and larger. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my up and down arrow keys. Up key, down arrow, up arrow. See, that works nice. That works nice. And then I also wanted to show you while I was here that you can also do a little bit of mouse event handling. And what I'm doing is I'm going to right click. Uh-oh, my door's open here. I'm going to right click the mouse and then left click. Oh, I gotta hit control. Left click. I can't left click on my. Well, I'm not so familiar with my Apple here, but it does work on the PC. How do you do shift? Double click. All right. I'm doing this on an Apple, so things are a little bit rough. But it does work on an Apple. If you right click and left click, the circle gets bigger and smaller. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem that I want to demo. Okay, let me kill this. And you don't know about anything about consumption, so let me come over here and eliminate that method and this method. If you just did what I showed you in the previous videos on key events, let's show you what happens here. Okay. So here I have my circle. All right. Now if I hit the down arrow, you see what happens? That down arrow made this button active. Okay. And if I hit the down arrow again, it doesn't do anything. See, I'm hitting up and down, it doesn't do anything. Basically, this panel lost its focus. And the reason that happens is that initially this panel did have focus and things were working great until, okay, but I needed to consume, that's why I have to enable it again. I need to consume that event so that it doesn't propagate. These events propagate from where they are to the parent. And the parent decides what to do with that event, the parent being the entire border pane. And it says, oh, I have a down arrow key. I'm going to send it to the next available component, which is down here in the control panel. So that's the reason why I needed to show you something and make a special video to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. If I consume the event here and here, let me consume the event. Okay, run it. What happens is, okay, I have up arrow, now down arrow, down arrow, down arrow. See what happens? That key got processed by making that circle smaller. I'm going to hit the down arrow, but I consumed it. Once I consume it, it doesn't go up to the parent, and the parent, not knowing that it occurred, isn't going to send it down to the next component. So that's the issue with this program. So let me just show you exactly what I have here. And let's see, I'm trying to use the same template all the time with these programs. I took a lot of this code from the textbook, by the way, but I took that code and made it my own by showing you what you have to really do when you're dealing with GUIs is use multiple classes. Okay, very short and sweet start. Launch, good. Okay, make an app GUI. All right, so high level view, I've got this in my head, a picture of what this GUI is going to do. I pass it to here, but when you're doing, you can't request focus on a GUI unless it's stuck in a scene. You can try long and hard, it's just not going to work. Okay, so this is why I need a separate object, put it in the scene. Once it's in the scene, request focus kicks in. And by the way, this request focus is something that I needed to write inside my app GUI. Okay, when I create my GUI, basically it's just a controls panel, like we've always done. We have buttons that we put on the bottom. And let's see, my circle pane is my drawing pane, which contains a circle. I put that in the center. This control button pane needs to have access to the circle pane so that it can tell it to go make itself bigger and smaller. But the thing is, I needed another method inside my app GUI called request focus. I could have called it Tony, but that doesn't make any sense. ag.tony, Tony. What this is supposed to do is say, well, this GUI needs to request focus. I wanted to use the same method that they use in the JDK. But what happens is when I call this get focus, I'm going to tell the system to go to this circle pane and request focus. All panes have the ability to request focus. Okay, circle panes, stack panes, regular panes, border panes, they all can request focus. It's just that my app GUI needs to know what to do, where to send the focus, and so this is what I need to do here, just to find my own little request focus method and tell the system to send the focus to my circle pane. So this stuff you've seen before. Not going to do too much with this. Now let's take a look at circle pane. Well, I want my circle in the center. Okay, circle is in the center, so that's good. I only have one component. Make it a stack pane. Okay, and I have a radius. I reach the circle. I'm making the radius bigger and smaller. And a circle. Okay, that's going to be manipulated. All right, excuse me a second. I have to close the door. Okay, I'm back. All right, so when I create this circle pane, radius is 50. I set a couple of events. This is different from button events, which are on action events. This guy here is similar to the other video. Set on key pressed. So when I press a key, something happens. And I wanted to show you a little mouse clicking too while I was here. Close this. Thank you. Okay, so basically the pane is responsible. This is the way, see, I create myself a little component, and that component, everything that has to do with that component I put inside the component well, how's the component going to handle keys presses? Have the component deal with the establishment of the key events. Have the component deal with mousing. Okay, and all these set methods look the same. Set on key pressed, set on key on mouse clicked. Okay, and then they take a lambda, and this is pretty much what you've seen before. Okay, when you're dealing with keys, grab the keystroke that's passed in here. Okay, now you don't really need to do. I wanted to show you that this parameter is of type key event, and that key event has the ability to get key codes. You don't really need to put this key event in there. You can just say E. I could have just done this, in other words. And it would have been shorter and sweeter, but why not? Let me just show you. Key event, and put it back to where I have before. And I screwed something up. Oh, key event. Okay, so I grab the keystroke, and if the key is up or the right key, I call this method enlarge it. But once you enlarge the method, consume that thing so that that key event doesn't bubble up to the parent and the parent decides to move it someplace else. Okay, same thing with down and left, shrink it, consume it, that's it. And while we're here, we might as well look at the mouse click. And this is the problem. I'm not used to the Apple mouse, which only has one button basically, and I have to figure one of these keys will shift the left and right key action. But I grab the button. See, what comes in here with mouse events is that E knows which button got pressed. If it's the primary button, which is in the case of a PC is the left button, that's called the primary button. I enlarge it. Now you don't need to consume that. It's only the keystrokes that need to be consumed. Then make it bigger. Otherwise, if the button is the right click, shrink it. And while you're at it, you might as well tell the system to give focus to the circle pane so that the keys will work there too. Okay, paint the circle. Paint the circle. Okay. You know what? Do I need to paint the circle? I don't believe I need to paint the circle. I don't need to do that. Let me get rid of this. Geez, I could have cleaned that code up a little smaller there. I'll tell you why in a second. Okay, because if you enlarge, basically enlarging means make the radius bigger. That's where you paint the circle. Paint circle, and if you shrink, make the radius smaller by 2. And if it gets less than 0, set it to 0, then paint the circle. Paint circle is going to look at, where's my paint circle? Right there. Paint circle's right there. Basically what paint circle is going to do, it's going to look at the state of your class. The state consists of all the properties, all the data that's inside the class. The data consists of radius and circle. And basically what it does is it clears whatever children this panel has, make a circle of that radius, you know, white, fill it with white, a black stroke, and add another circle. There, and that's it. That's basically it. Now the buttons you've seen before. We won't beat this to death. We've laid out some buttons before, but the idea here is if you hit the enlarge button, you're setting on action. What you're getting is an action event. I'm not really making use of that at all, but I just wanted to show you that. Well, if you want to make it bigger, enlarge, and you might as well set the focus to the circle so that you can use your keystrokes without a problem. And same thing with shrinking, request focus, that's it. Now I wanted to show you that I really don't need this full definition of what that event is. The system knows that E is going to be, by virtue of it being inside set on action, that it's an action event. Okay, so I hope this makes more sense and you can apply what I just showed you with your programs. And like I said, you have a little bit more time to get this done if you want the extra credit. Now, if you don't do the extra credit, this is all moot. You don't have to worry about it. But yeah, some people need some extra credit. I'll give you the extra credit if you do it. All right, so good luck with this. Bye.